morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Living With Us. I'm your host, Sharon Mundia, and today's show, we're highlighting different careers, and we meet three incredible people on different days and get to hear a little bit more about what their 9 to 5 looks like. Now, we'll get to speak to a media and branding guru. We get to also speak to a visual artist whose work has been trending on Twitter, so I'm pretty certain you must have seen her work. And a guy who's been dealing with giraffes and conservation for the past 15 years. So there's a lot to learn, and it's really, really interesting. So let's get into it. All right, so I've got Vickie Remoe here with me, who's really essentially a storyteller at heart, and helps corporates as well in telling their stories and building their brands and being able to come out strong as their own entity. Welcome, Vickie. Welcome to not just the show, but to Kenya as well.
Thank you. No, I'm so pleased to be here because there was a false start. I tried to come to Kenya a couple years ago, and it didn't work out. Right. I had the tickets and everything, so it's amazing to finally be here. I actually grew up in Addis. Oh. But while I was in Addis as a kid, we never came to Nairobi. My mom came I know it's weird.
Wait, you grew up in Addis?
I did.
But you're from Sierra Leone.
I am.
And you work a lot
I live in Ghana.
Oh, you live in Ghana?
Yes, I do.
But you also lived in the States. So can you tell me about your background? Because obviously there's lots more to your story.
So I like to tell people that, I'm like a global refugee. Okay. A fancier way to say it would be like a global nomad. Okay.
Global nomad. Okay.
But I left Sierra Leone about when I was 12 during the Civil War, and I've lived in a lot of different places. My mom was a diplomat, so that afforded us the opportunity to travel a lot. She was based in Addis for about 10 years. And so I was there for 4, and then from there I moved to the US, which is where I did my high school and then undergrad and then grad school. And then I decided after undergrad I'd move back to Sierra Leone because we have to go and build our country. Yeah. We have to go there and do these things. So I moved to Sierra Leone after undergrad. I'd worked in the city. I worked for the New York State Department of Health for like a year. Moved to Sierra Leone because I wanted to be part of the post-war reconstruction. Moved back. I was there for 4 years. In that time, I co-founded a fashion company with my best friend called Ashabi Designs. Right. And yesterday was her 36th birthday, but she passed away a year ago. Oh, bless. So it was our baby. Yeah. And it was really amazing. I would like to say we spearheaded the, Afro cool fashion revolution in Sierra Leone. Yeah. And then after that, I moved back to New York. I started a TV show actually during that time as well, the Vickie Remoe show, which started off as like a lifestyle-y thing, and then I was like, no, I'm a little too serious for like little chit-chat in a studio, and I think that Africa is most interesting outdoors, and I wanted to tell stories about what was going on with Sierra Leoneans and West Africans outside of a studio set. So I took the show on the road, and we traveled to like 5 countries, went to Mali and Senegal and Ghana and Nigeria. Like one of my favorite episodes was we did a road trip from Dakar to Bamako. And took a train from the south of Mali into the city. I got arrested somewhere on the highway. Like it was so I've lived. Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, what did you study in uni?
So my first degree is in political science because there was a time when I thought I wanted to go into international development like my mom. Yeah. But then I decided that it really maybe was not for me, and so that's when I took those 4 years and went to Sierra Leone. Okay. And while I was in Sierra Leone, because I'd done the TV show, I really felt like storytelling was my thing. I'd started blogging like years before, but then you don't always kind of have the words. You don't know you're a storyteller, but you're telling stories. Right. You don't know you're doing journalism, but you're doing journalism, right? Yeah. Because you don't have the words and like the definitions and whatever. Yeah. And so I applied for graduate school. I got into Columbia from Sierra Leone, and then so I moved back to the US for that, and then I was in New York for about 1.5 years, and I was like, I cannot come and be here and suffer this America life. my ancestors did not die for me to be here. Like, I need to go back to the continent.
Oh my God, okay.
And so I moved to Ghana. My mom was living there. She was still working for the government of Sierra Leone at the embassy.
Okay.
And I didn't have any money because graduate students don't have money. We're not supposed to have money, actually.
Yeah.
So I moved back to Ghana and I took my CV and I started cold calling. And I went to a TV station and say, hi, you know, I'm a TV producer. Rah, 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 here's my reel. And they're like, yeah, we don't like buy content, nor do we really hire producers like that.
Okay.
But thank you for coming.
Yeah. So
and then 2 weeks later,
yeah.
the person I'd met who was like the MD was like, I have a friend who owns a manufacturing company that's kind of looking for somebody with the skill sets you had on your CV, so come see me next week.
Yeah.
Went to see him and he took me and introduced me to this guy who owned a African textile manufacturing company called Printex. It's one of like so Ghana used to have about is it like 40 textile houses?
Okay.
It only has 4 now.
Yeah.
And it's one of the like last locally indigenous ones. And so, you know, I went to meet him and he was like, yeah, we're just looking for somebody to give us ideas. Looks like you have some, you know, fashion, something thing. And I was like, I could do that. And then he was like, but we're only paying $500 a month.
Okay.
And I was like,
Screech.
Yeah, but
second.
I was a poor grad student.
Yeah,
so I was like, okay, technically this isn't enough money for me to get out of bed every day. However, I'd never worked for a manufacturing company of any kind before. And I do have a very strong interest in African fashion, African textiles.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I know this is nothing, but like I want to learn, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
It was like a consultancy position. And so I was like, well, okay, fine, I'm gonna register a company. Maybe there'll be other opportunities, which I did. And then in the space of having the gig for a month, I did lots of market research and I put together a proposal and a strategic plan for them to say, okay, you know, maybe your marketing department can implement this.
Okay.
And then he came back, I did a whole presentation. I'm like, well, you know, this is what I think you guys should do.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't have anybody who could do any of this. Are you willing to
jump in,
do it? I was like, are you kidding? He's like, no, actually, you know, what would be your number? I said my number and he was like, sure. And I said, I also want a personal assistant. And he was like, sure, I'll pay for that too. I was like, and I also need a graphic designer. He's like, sure, I'll pay for that too. And I was like, wait,
yeah,
what?
So even I'm like, wait, what? And this is like right after your undergrad?
Yeah, this is within a year of doing my graduate degree.
Graduate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just like, wait, what? Did I just like name my own price and like everything?
Yeah.
So yeah, I got that, and then within like 2 years, I was able to double my retainer fee with the same company.
Wow.
So it was amazing.
It's incredible. So how did you go from working with that one brand and then introducing other corporates into
once
the
you do something successfully for one client, then it becomes a blueprint, right? So one, I got to learn about, you know, branding while doing the job, being a creative director. And then I was like, wait, you know, a lot of local brands, especially manufacturers of fast-moving consumer goods or just manufacturers, period, they usually have a sales department, but they don't have a marketing and a creative department because they're thinking about sales and distribution and like developing their distribution channels. And I was like, you know, I'm sure that there are other ones like this one. I mean, Printex is like a multi-million-dollar company. They're a huge part of Ghana's like textile industry. And I was like, I'm sure there are smaller ones. And so that's basically how I got started. I just was, you know, I identified that that particular type of business could need my services, and I started looking for them. So since then, I've done business. We've represented the Heineken and subsidiary in Sierra Leone. Worked for Guinness. In Sierra Leone, actually, you know, elsewhere Heineken and Guinness compete, but in Sierra Leone, it's one company. So the Sierra Leone Brewery. I've done work for the local Coke subsidiary in Sierra Leone. Basically, anybody who's in fast-moving consumer goods, I've probably knocked on their door like, hey, what's up? Are you good? I love that.
I love that you also you took initiative and you went and started asking questions. But I also find it so interesting that that's not the only thing that you did. And in fact, you've also, like, you know, you're a producer. You recently even restarted the Vickie Remoe show on YouTube. You've also got the magazine as well.
Yes.
So, and then again, going back to telling being a storyteller and specifically being very passionate about telling the African story, can you paint a picture of what that's been like and why you found these different outlets, whether it's YouTube, magazine.
Right. So the TV show actually started in 2008, 2009, but then I left it because we really barely had electricity in Sierra Leone in 2008, 2009. So I'd go and promote my show and look for sponsors, and they'd flat out tell me, how are people watching TV if we don't have lights?
Yeah.
I'm like, right. Good point.
I'll get back.
So I did that for about 3 years, but I wasn't, I mean, I was growing professionally, but financially, the numbers on my bank account were not growing.
Yeah.
And I was like, this isn't financially sustainable. I can't do it. So I left the show. I stopped doing the show for 7 years. And so I just started doing again last year. So we went into production. Ultimately, I feel like there is so much beauty and so much talent on the continent, whether it's in the businesses that we create and the things that we produce, or it's our landscape, it's our culture, it's our arts, our entertainment. So what I've tried to do with my platform and as an individual is find different ways to capture that. So if it's telling stories for local brands, I feel like that story is important. If it's a magazine for women, Go Women, which I started in 2014, to tell stories about, you know, women who I thought were like me and go-getters, self-starters, you know, taking the weird path, that those stories needed to be told because I didn't feel like there was an outlet for them. Or my TV show, which is a travel and business show that features, you know, people in West Africa who I think are doing amazing things. Of course, we want to go global. My thing is like, I want to be the Show Me Africa lady, right? The lady people come to is like, I want to see Africa, and I'm like, okay, I'll show you. Show Me Africa lady. I say that my show.
Oh, Show Me Africa lady.
Yeah, I say my show is a cross between like Oprah and Parts Unknown.
Okay.
Because yeah, we want to have the great conversations, but I really want to take you to places you haven't been and have you experience what the continent has to offer. Because there's so much here.
Yeah.
There's so much here. So that's really my story. That once I accepted that I had a gift for storytelling, then it was easy to kind of find all these different pathways to fulfill that and to express myself.
Right. And what's it like juggling all these different roles? And it almost feels, I mean, I know essentially you're storytelling, but it almost feels like you're wearing so many hats. You're helping brands build essentially their brands. You're helping, you've got the magazine, you're also a mom. You're traveling all the time.
Yes.
You know, there's so much that you're doing. How do you not lose your mind?
Well, I do lose my hair sometimes. I must say. So one of the things that suffers the most when my schedule gets heavy is my hair, because then I can't deep condition and steam and treat. You know, natural hair requires so much love and attention.
A lot of love.
So it's like my hair will start to shed, and I'm like, you see, girl, you see what's going on in your life.
Your body is telling you.
Yes, no. So it is very difficult, but I've also learned that I'm not a one-woman army. Like when I first started out, I used to think that I could do everything.
Yeah.
I don't. So I have 2 websites. I have like I have a personal blog, and then I have a website that's about Sierra Leone news that I blog on. And then there's the women's magazine, which suffers because I can't be everything and do everything. So the juggling is difficult, and I'm a single mom of a 3.5-year-old boy. I don't understand 3.5-year-old boys. Just to say that I was not prepared for boy.
I love your honesty, and I always just want to segue and be like, let's talk about.
No, I just want to say that I don't know. I was praying for a daughter because I felt like that's the language I could understand. God bless me with a son who is a boy. Like, he's such a boy. And so most of the time I'm looking at him like, I don't know what is this?
I can already feel that he's going to teach you so much.
My whole house is covered in pen and pencil and all of these things. It was a nice house before.
God, yeah.
So juggling means some things do suffer.
Yeah.
I can't be everywhere at the same time. But I also hire people. right? I've decided that because I can't do everything, I'm a delegate. So like I have a personal assistant who lives in Accra and is on call.
Okay.
My digital and PR strategist lives in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I also have a full-time live-in nanny. And then my mom lives 15 minutes down the road. Actually, no, she just moved in with me last September. Take that back.
Okay.
My sister lives an hour from me.
Okay.
So when I do travel for a long haul, my son has like 4 other women who are his village, who help support me. I do get I call it single traveling working mom guilt.
Okay.
So which is that I feel bad if I have to be away, because I will plan to be away for 10 days and then a contract I've signed, they don't pay, I cannot leave if you have my money.
Yeah.
And then, like, we don't, you know, and then I'm like there 3 weeks, which is what happened last time I was in Sierra Leone. Yeah. But this is the life I've chosen, because it is a choice. I could get a 9 to 5 and just sit my butt down.
Yeah.
And I've decided that I want to do all these things, and I feel like I've been blessed and I've been privileged, especially as a woman. I know that in my country, I'm in the 1% of the population. Most women, even if they wanted to do the things I'm doing, could not do it because they do not have the education, they do not have the self-confidence, they do not have the support system, they don't have the structures. So because I've been blessed, I feel like I have a responsibility to do more. I just launched a not-for-profit organization.
Pile it on, another thing on your target, because obviously you don't have enough that you're doing.
Because also I believe that, like, as a citizen, I have a responsibility.
Right.
And so I started Sister Circles to create safe spaces for women in Sierra Leone to dialogue in a non-judgmental environment about sex and sexuality. Sierra Leone is dealing with lots of issues, and we're really far behind in terms of gender inequality, and a huge part of that is that we have traditional customs that work in tandem with our constitution to actually keep women disempowered. 90% of the women in Sierra Leone have experienced female genital cutting. 45% of women in Sierra Leone have been victims of intimate partner violence or domestic abuse. 30 to 39% of children are married before the age of 18. So we have a lot of work to do. And I think a huge part of that is that right from the onset, we start coding girls to believe that they're less, they're not worth as much, they're not valued as much. So you then get women who are adults, but they don't value themselves. There are lots of things that happen to people that they do not say, they cannot speak about. So what we're doing is creating these spaces to speak the unspeakable, because until somebody can heal and kind of find wholeness, they can't thrive. And so that's what we're trying to do with Sister Circles.
I love that. And ultimately, they will pass it on to the next generation, and it'll be transmitted whether you want to or not. Wow.
Absolutely. I mean, the first person I hired in the organization is somebody who I actually interviewed for a podcast, who was sexually assaulted as a child, raped by the time she was 13. Her first relationship with her son's dad was a physically abusive relationship where he used to take electrical cable cords and attempt to strangle her. She is only 26. And it's already like a life so fully lived. And I was just like, her story traumatized me. And, you know, she left her latest job because her employer was making passes at her. And I was like, first of all, girl, that's too much life in one life. But I also felt like, you know, that she wanted to share her story with me. She felt like I was a safe space I could be a repository for her.
And that's what you're trying to create.
Yes, and so now she's working for me, and she's organizing the first Sister Circles retreat. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't get to be with my son, et cetera, but I'm empowering another young woman to take care of her own daughter who doesn't have a village, right? My son's gonna be fine.
Yeah, no, obviously. So what, as we wrap this up, what would you say are you most grateful for with regards to your career?
The thing I'm most grateful for is the self-belief, right? I mean, I could say my education, I could say other things, but the thing that keeps me going is that no matter what it is I'm trying to do or trying to start or idea, I always know for a fact that I can do it. Not because somebody tells me to, it's just something that's innate. And I think that if you have, and it makes you fearless, right? You can take on new challenges. So it doesn't, I could move here tomorrow without knowing everybody and feel like, listen, I got this, you know, because I have self-belief. And I think that that's what a lot of people, they just need to believe in themselves because they can.
Can I say that you are radiating that? And I think it shows online, in your videos, in person. that you really do have a strong sense of self and belief in yourself. And I guess that's why you're as successful as you are. And you know, they say like you can't do everything and wear all these hats, and I'm like, hi, have you met Vickie? Welcome to her life. Look at what she's doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
This
was
was
such a great chat. I know I feel like I just came and I talked right through.
I love it. But that's the idea. The idea is we're trying to understand like how you got to where you are and how you keep going. And I think you've done a great job of painting that picture.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay. Us.
Thank you for watching. We've got a few more people lined up for you. So stay tuned. We're just taking a quick break, but we'll be right back.